All right, once we know how to find basic percentages, we can now look at what happens when we increase something by a certain percentage. But also, what's really important in industry is at the end of the day, you have to make a profit. So you have to have more money coming in than what goes out, and that is often, very often expressed as a percentage. So we're looking at how we're going to increase something by a certain percentage. All right, so if we go to page 2 of the workbook, and you've got this going on here. Okay, so an example of percentage increase. So let's say I've got 380 metres, and I want to increase it by 11%. Okay, now I'm going to show you 2 different ways of doing this. You do which way really fits with you. We're going to go with that 1% thing. Let's just find what 11% is first. Okay, so we talked earlier about the 1% method. So 1%, divide that by 100, that's 3.8. Okay, so then 11%, what do we got? 3.8 times 11, so that's 3.8 times 11, which is 41.8 metres. Okay, so that, if I'm going to increase it by 11%, then that 380 has to be cranked up by 41.8 metres. So I've got 380 plus 41.8, okay, because I'm increasing it, it's got to end up bigger. So I've got 380 plus 41.8, so it ends up being $421 meter, 421.8 meters, not dollars. Right. Okay. So that's the first way to do it. But there is another way, which you might like a bit better. Depends upon your person's brain. Okay. So if we look at this 380, that's an original 100%. Okay. We can say, well, that's actually 100%. So if I'm going to increase it by 11%, what I'm going to do is find 111%, because I'm increasing it by 11%. It was originally 100%, now it's going to be 111%. So I could do the same thing. My 1% is 3.8 meters, but now instead of finding 11%, I'm going to find 111%. So that's 111 times 3.8. Because remember, the 1% method, it doesn't matter what percentage you're finding, you go 1%, and then however many percent you need, you just times it by that. So I'm doing exactly the same thing. 111 times 3.8. Oh, look at that, same answer, 421.8 meters. Okay. Either way is perfectly correct. No one way is going to get you more marks than the other. You decide which one you like the best. Okay. Stick with one and just know how to drive it. Okay. But that 1% method does help no matter what. Now, you can apply this when it comes to making a profit on something. So let's say we've got Dave here. Dave buys a table. Maybe on Facebook Marketplace, bought this crusty old table. Maybe it was at a garage sale. And he renovates it. He sands it back. He stains it. He might put a few screws in here and there just to firm it up a bit. Gives it a good stain. Gives it a bit of polish, okay, and then he's going to go and sell it on Facebook Marketplace again to make a profit, okay, so kind of like he's flipping it. All right, so all up, he spent $480. So that's buying the table, that's, the sandpaper to sand it back, that's the wood stain, the whole thing. All up, he kept a record of it. He spent $480 to do this. Now, he figures he wants to make 60% on it. So what should he sell it for? All right, so the profit is going to be 60% more than that. Okay, so if you're looking at this one here, okay, so your selling price is going to be $480 plus 60%. Okay, so what's my 1%? 1% is 4.8. Okay, so therefore 60% is 4.8 times 60. So that's $288. Now, what that actually means is when he sells it, he's going to be $288 ahead. All right, he's going to have $288 he didn't have before. If he only sold it for $480, that's called breaking even. He hasn't lost money, but he hasn't made money either. So he's trying to, make a bit of money here. So if he makes 60% on it, that means he will get an extra $288. All right, so that's $480 plus $288. Okay, so he's going to sell it for 480 plus 288, $768. Okay, that's how you use increasing percentage to do a profit. But we had this method over here. All right, well, what that means is if he's increasing it by 60%, he needs 160% of 480. Okay. So we do the same thing. 1% is 4.8. So 160% is 160 times 4.8. 160 times 4.8. That's $768. We get the same answer. Okay. Doesn't matter which way you go. They are both perfectly correct. You figure out which one you prefer and just stick with that. All right, off you go.